in what we're actually doing. So it's pretty straightforward, and it just means that again, we can get a lot more technical with this, but all we're doing really is emitting from maps, and as we can see, everything remains the same and it works out really well. And we can have fire being emitted and everything else, and we can really customize this even further, but ultimately it's doing what I want. And we have the liquid is all being more sparse where we need it to be. So what I would do at this point is I would probably get to like an end frame, so you can kind of get a better idea as to the dimensions I'm going to work with. And what I'll do is I'll get my final dimensions for this and just adjust it a little bit to make it a little bit more forgiving. And then when I'm happy with this, hold down Shift and copy it, and make sure that there's a little bit of overlap between the two containers, and that way they'll burn into each other. Usually I want to have a little bit more than just a bit, but something like that will be fine. Again, usually I want to make this cover everything. So maybe something like that or whatever. I'm not too worried at this point, but using 2, so I've duplicated this. I'm just going to go in and change my output and call this like fuel 2. Alright, so that way I'll run a simulation of both of these and I can check out the final result. Now the whole point is that by limiting these to separate containers, again, you do want to make sure the overlap's pretty good, but by limiting to separate containers, it means that they won't clip as much. And we can again take steps even further if we like to kind of make these separate meshes. That way I can make sure that this ends here and that one ends there, or whatever it's going to be, so that way they really kind of overlap a bit more seamlessly. But this is the sort of thing that I want, so that way the flames will come down and I'm controlling specifically where they emit from. And then from here I run a simulation of both of them, and then I can see the final result. So keep in mind that I'm just doing this more as a proof of concept, just to kind of get this idea across, but you can use this in so many different ways. It's a really quite a strong notion to how you can work with really simulating fuel being on fire and getting real flow and fume to work together. So once you've done the simulation, I'll return and just show a preview of what I've done. Alright, so I've run a preview of the final thing, and here we can see how it's turned out. So we have all the liquid, and then at this point I believe we begin to light it on fire. So I'm just going to turn my emitter on so it begins simulating, and we can see that we now have fire burning in those specific areas on the fuel. And again, I can control more of where it emits based on my map, so I can really kind of spread it out or do whatever I want to do with it. And like I said, we can do a lot with this concept, but I'm trying to keep it more in tutorial form, as in I just want to cover it as a conceptual point of view, and from here you can kind of take it and apply what we're doing throughout the rest of this DVD to kind of create like really feature film quality flame effects. So that's pretty much it. I hope you found this informative, and I will be doing a lot more of this sort of thing, so keep your eye out for it. But ultimately, doing more conceptual stuff is a good way to kind of point out that there is all these cool kind of additional things you can do within Fume, making them plug and talk to other tools and packages.